Goddess to You, and I'm back with another episode of Surface Level Conversations, where we take the conversations that you have behind closed doors and we bring them to the surface. Those deep conversations that some of us just don't get, and what I do is I take the deep conversations that I understand and I break it down, or I bring it up to the surface where it's more understandable. Let's put it that way, in simple terms. So today's episode is going to be about radical rebirth. This is something I'm currently experiencing. So I just want to tell y'all a little bit about my experience. But before I do that, I want to break down what radical is, and then I want to break down what rebirth is, which I actually researched both of these definitions. So I have them written down because I want to make sure that I have it correct. But then I'm going to give y'all my definition of radical rebirth as a whole. And based off of my experience, I want to talk to you all about that. So radical is basically rooted in the original. So we go with that. Radical is also a breaking of boundaries and a shedding of restrictions. Radical can also mean, in spiritual terms, related to or affecting the fundamental nature of something, far-reaching or thorough. That's what radical is. Rebirth is a spiritual enlightenment causing a person to lead a new life. So rebirth, reborn, basically, is something that enlightens you to cause you to lead a new life. So if I put radical rebirth as a whole, I would tell you that it's being the boundaries and restrictions, like the old boundaries and restrictions, and it's going to allow us like a significant ascension instead of us staying stagnant in one area. So it's giving us an opening and a divine view of our growing soul, which allows self-expansion. I had to write that down too because I had broke that definition down, but I'm going to break that down for you. So currently, as I'm in my 7, I'm learning a lot more about myself, but I'm also learning to trust myself, my instincts, my intuition, allowing God to lead me, listening to the universe, listening to Mother Nature, which I feel like is more of my intuition, because the closer I get with nature, the better I am when it comes to intuitive guides. So right now, what's happening is I'm unlearning a lot of things and I'm learning new things. These new things are leading me to open up to a whole different viewpoint of life itself. I am interested in new things. I am indulging more in activities that I have found myself loving. I am being surrounded by people, places, and things that like what I like, that may have different viewpoints as well that I can learn from, that's growing as well. I am leading a new life and leaving my old life behind. A lot of times during this transition and this journey of my 7, I am feeling sometimes a little confused. I'm feeling like sometimes emotional. There are different things that's coming to me, and I'm finding myself actually responding in different ways. There's people that I may encounter that my spirit just don't like, or it irks my spirit. I'm not going to say don't like because I don't dislike anyone, but my spirit may become irritated by certain people, and I may not even know these people, or I may have known people, but my spirit is a little irritated by it. So it's like a rebirth. Like I'm being reborn. I'm seeing things differently. I'm doing things differently. And I'm ascending. I'm ascending to my higher self. Radical rebirth is really deep because what's happening is your domestications that you have learned when you were younger or even in the now, you're breaking those. You're breaking those restrictions. You're breaking the boundaries that you were taught. And you're becoming who you are supposed to be. It's like a caterpillar that goes into a cocoon state and then come out as a butterfly. Everything is different for that caterpillar because it goes from seeing something totally different that was on the ground and now it's seeing things in a higher space, you know? So that's where I am. I was the caterpillar and I have went through the cocoon phase and now I am coming out of my cocoon. I feel like I haven't gotten to the butterfly with the wings spread, but I feel like I'm coming out of my cocoon. So I'm starting to see things differently. The things that were dark to me is now light to me, you know? So I'm seeing things and I'm starting to want to, you know, spread my wings a little bit, try new things and just expand on who I am, doing things for me, putting me first. The things that were hard for me is now becoming easier for me. Not only that, I'm becoming more open to the new things, the new ideas, the new places, the new people, the new scenery, the new activities, the new lessons. I'm becoming more open to it. And then I'm shedding some of that bad, I'm going to say some of that toxic or ways that has held me back. Like I'm shedding it. I'm shedding the procrastination and doing it. I'm shedding the self-doubt and actually pursuing things that I know is going to get me to a higher level. I'm shedding the pain that I felt and the questions that I've had on questioning myself about why I may have turned on a person or am I being mean to someone or things like that. Like I'm starting to shed that, like the things that aren't good for me, that is low vibrational, I'm starting to shed it. I'm starting to look at things totally different, starting to understand things from a different perspective, seeing how I would have certain conversations with people and people may point out something or may complain about something and I could agree with it at the time and I can empathize with it, but now I'm at a different light and I'm starting to be like, no, I kind of see why this person did this, or I kind of see where this person is coming from. Like I'm starting to see things from both aspects. I used to feel like that I could understand every single person and put myself in every single person's shoes until now. And now I really feel like, okay, now I can actually see this person's point of view. I can put myself in this person's shoes because again, I'm seeing things from a whole new aspect, a whole new life. The knowledge that is coming to me is crazy. Like I'm getting all this different type of knowledge and I'm like, what? Oh, snap. Okay. And then there's different things that's coming to me that may trigger me. And I feel like now, at first I didn't like being triggered, but now I know that triggers are good because once you get to that trigger and you are triggered, you then know how to handle it and you know what triggers you and you know how to maneuver through that trigger in a healthier way. So I feel like that every time we go to a different level, we are going to go through the radical rebirth. The radical rebirth isn't something that's easy. Again, and sometimes it don't feel good, but once you start to maneuver through it and start to learn more about how you're maneuvering through it and the great things about it and the good things that's coming out of it, you're like, oh snap, like hold on, this is actually good. And you start to find the good and the positive in every change that's happening with your radical rebirth. So I wanted to speak on that because I feel like a lot of us are going through a radical rebirth or have been through a radical rebirth and didn't even know that it was a radical rebirth. Radical rebirth is consistent, especially when you're growing in your life and you're ascending to different levels within your life. Radical rebirth is consistent. You get to a point to where you're going through your radical rebirth. You have went through that stage of your radical rebirth. You done got comfortable now because you're like, oh snap, I'm here. You're happy, you're comfortable. And then something else comes to enlighten you. And now you're back on that journey to get to the other level. Now you have to go through another portion of the radical rebirth, which is now you back at, oh snap, I thought I was seeing things at this level, at this high level, and in reality I'm really seeing things at this low level, and now it's time for me to see things at this high level again. So let me go ahead and go through those stages of the radical rebirth. And that's really what's occurring with everything, every single phase of our life, every chapter that we enter. If we're not being stagnant and we're wanting to grow and we're wanting to be amazing, and we're on a verge of searching for our higher self, we're going to go through radical rebirth. Radical rebirth is a good thing. You're breaking boundaries. You are tearing away all restrictions, and you're freeing yourself. You're freeing yourself. And you're doing so much good. Like, it's crazy. Like, at this point, it's like you're reaching further than what people told you that you can. During the radical rebirth, you start to realize the things that other people would do would irritate you. And then now it don't. I was talking to a very wise person. Talk to him all the time. Very wise. Like, adore the hell out of him. But talking to him, and he'll even point out different things about my growth. Like, look at how you're responding now. Because it'll be certain things that I used to respond to. I have to get my point across. I kind of get irritated and try to talk about my viewpoint versus their viewpoint because they're trying to push their viewpoint on me. And now it's like, you know what? You got that. Like, it's all love. Like, say what you want to. And I'm learning how to communicate more because, when someone says something to me that I'm doing wrong, without an explanation, it would bother me, and I'd be ready to snap. But now I'm like, let me wait till the iron cools down. And once the iron cools down, and that's what he would say, like, the iron cools down. But when the iron cooled down, now I'm like, hey, can you explain to me, like, what you meant by this, or how you feel like I did something wrong, so that I can see it from your point of view, and this will help me in my growth, my life's journey, and just being a better me. So everything is changing. I'm loving the radical rebirth. I want to know, have you all went through any radical rebirth? Are you going through a radical rebirth? Have you learned anything with this episode? During this radical rebirth, like I said, it sometimes can be an emotional roller coaster. Do you have any type of advice for me on what I can do to maneuver through it and get out of my cocoon and be this beautiful butterfly? Okay? So hopefully you enjoyed this short episode. I definitely enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I'm ready to learn something from you all. So go ahead, tap in, comment, talk to me, say your piece. Tell me if you understood everything. Let me know if I need to go a little deeper. Tell me if I need to do longer episodes. Tell me some topics you would like to talk about. But really, I want to know about your radical rebirth. And I feel like this isn't the first time. I know for a fact this isn't the first time I've been through a radical rebirth. I can talk about, like, going from dark days and pulling myself out and seeing the get into the lighter days. Like, yeah, we can go deeper and deeper and deeper. But I really want to know about your experience with radical rebirth. I want to know if you have any type of advice for me. I want you to ask me some questions. And if you disagree or agree, then let me know. I'm ready to engage with you all. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Turn on the notifications. I thank you so much for those who do watch me, who is following my journey, who is growing with me and becoming a part of my community. I really thank you. I appreciate you all for everything. Again, it's Indy, aka it's Goddess to you, and this is Surface Level Conversations. Peace, love, light, and healing.